Video 2, subtracting integers. I should say subtracting integers, video 2. So when we see subtraction, remember we can kind of think of that as like a negative. However, so to the left, the first problem, we're going to think of that as a -5 because I see a negative sign in front of the 5. And then we're going to think of that as like a -7. It's like joining a -5 and a -7 together. It's the same thing as starting at -5 on the number line and moving backwards 7 to the left. So therefore, what algorithm is that technically? We have a -5 and a -7, two negatives. That's algorithm number 2. So with algorithm number 2, remember we add their absolute values, 5 and 7, and it stays negative, our answer. It makes sense because we have negative, subtract even more, we're farther down on the number line on the negative side. Now, when you see that -3 on the right problem here, because there's a subtraction sign in front, we're doing the opposite here. So it's kind of like if I subtract negativity in this world, is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a good thing. We want to get rid of negativity. So subtracting negatives is a good thing. It's the same as adding. So again, whenever I see a subtraction sign and a negative like this together, I do this. So I'm going to rewrite it with just one sign in the middle. Now, let me go back to the first example. Well, let's finish the second example. So now I have 8 plus 3. What algorithm is that? Algorithm 1. We don't even really need to think about it. Same thing we did in kindergarten. But going back to the first example, subtracting 7, I am subtracting +7. If I subtract positivity, I get rid of positivity. That's a bad thing. It's a negative thing. That's why we think of that as like a -7. Next example, let's look at the left. 6 minus 4. Okay, technically we can do that. First graders, elementary students can do that because I have a positive, subtract another positive. So 6 minus 4 we know to be 2. However, if we think about it using our algorithms, is 6 positive or negative? Positive. Is that 4? Looking at that sign in front, we're going to pretend like it's a -4. So I have a 6 and a -4, two opposites, a positive and a negative. That's algorithm 3. Subtract. Do I have more positives or do I have more negatives in this case? More positives. So it's a +2. All right, what are you going to do when you see this on the right side here? Change. Subtracting negative is the same as adding a positive. So now I rewrite it. -9 plus 3. What algorithm? Algorithm 3 again. I have negatives, I have positives. So I subtract. Now, do I have more negatives or do I have more positives to begin with in this problem? I had more negatives, so my answer stays negative. Okay, next example to the left. Look at this example. Even though this video is subtracting integers, I threw in an adding problem. Because if it's an addition problem, we can go ahead, don't change anything. We can go ahead and just solve 12 plus -3. Asking ourselves, what algorithm is it? Algorithm 3 again, positive and a negative. So subtract the absolute values, +9, -9, +9 because we had more positives to begin with. Now, what's another way of writing this problem? 12 plus -3 and getting the same answer, 9. We can rewrite it like this. So 12 plus -3, adding negatives to our life is a bad thing. Same thing as subtracting positives to our life. That's a bad thing. So 12 plus -3, mathematically, same thing as 12 minus 3. I get 9 no matter what. All right, off to the right, 9 minus 11. What do we do here? +9, -11. Algorithm 3 again. Subtract, +9, -11. So I had more negatives, so -2. That makes sense because if I have a +9, spend $11, I'm in the hole, $2 now. In the hole is like saying you're in the negatives. Next problem, -6. Oh, I see a plus sign, plus -7. So I don't need to do any changing. What algorithm am I going to use here? 2 negatives, algorithm 2. Algorithm 2 is add, keep the negative sign. What about 14 minus 5? Technically, we can do that like elementary school students and just subtract. Or we can think about our algorithms. +14, -5, subtract, +9, because we had more positives to begin